want to welcome on our, I guess, next, not necessarily episode, but our next version of Wellness in Woodford.
We lost track a long time ago.
We did. We're just going to keep up with the months.
Yes, for sure.
And so we are recording a series in the month of May to highlight mental health really in all stages of life. And so we're going to give kind of like a broad overview during this podcast. But we have a special guest this morning. I've often talked about John and I have 5 kids. So I feel like most of the stuff I've learned in life, I've learned through being a parent. And Harper has been the one that she's the oldest. And so she's kind of been our guinea pig. So if she's messed up, like it's our fault.
Oh gosh.
No, she is.
She's wearing a Bengals t-shirt, so
she's got to be okay, right?
I think you're doing all right.
It's all right.
I think you're doing good.
Well, Miss Harper's with us, and Harper's 16, and she is brave and resilient and so many things. And she, like so many others, myself included, has struggled from time to time with, what I call the big lies, the things that depression and anxiety tell us that aren't true, but we believe them at the time, the moment. And
it's weird. It almost makes you feel better to believe them or something.
Right?
Like it's like you give in. Like I know exactly what you're. Yep.
Like that's easier than talking yourself out of whatever. Yes. So I want to welcome her and really tell her how proud I am. Proud to share this morning with us. What's going on in her life, her mental health, and kind of the struggles that she's had, but then how she has overcome them.
For sure.
And so I really wanted to start out, too, by talking about our series at the library. We are going to be having, of course, the mental health awareness is in May, and we're going to be having 3 different opportunities to hear about managing mental health in different age segments. So okay, I see what you're saying. Just to kind of break that up, because mental health is very broad.
Right.
And, someone that wants to talk about perinatal health,
right.
mental health, maybe depression, postpartum, something like that, is not going to want to probably talk about senior citizen mental health. And so we are going to break the sections up May 5th at the library here, downtown Versailles, from 5 to 6 p.m. Okay. We are going to talk about youth, adolescent mental health.
Okay, so starting with the youths.
Yes, we're starting out with the younger population. And then May 12th, we're going to be talking about adult mental health, which that can be kind of a broad range. So that will be very broad.
Okay.
And then to finish this out on May 19th, we are going to be talking about senior mental health. And so we know that actually one of the most depressive populations are our senior citizens. Senior citizens may be suffering with being widowed. They may be suffering with health problems, which can affect your mental health and vice versa.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So I really feel like we have kind of covered a lot of, the spectrum on mental health and the populations. But this podcast, we're going to be talking about just kind of an overview of all of those. So with Harper here with us this morning, I just wanted to give her an opportunity to share, again, what sometimes she has struggled with, and then, again, how she's overcome that.
Well, thank you, Mom, for introducing me.
Welcome.
Thank
Harper,
you guys for
Yeah.
me.
Sorry, we were talking.
Yes, that was a good one.
We were talking before the show.
Yes.
So I think my mental health struggles and journey started like whenever we moved into Versailles. I was in third grade, and
Okay.
it was like really hard just because, like we had to move away from all my friends.
Right. In third grade, I mean, that's right there, you know, prime time, gaining those friends. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I started feeling like depressed whenever I was in third grade,
Sure.
just because I didn't like, I didn't like have any friends, and it was our first year in Versailles. So,
Buddy, I've been there. I did the same thing in first grade. Yes. I feel you.
I was like, would cry in the bathroom and would just lock myself in there thinking about like how I just like didn't want to be alive anymore, and was like really sad all the time because one, at our new school, I didn't understand math, and I would cry at school all the time.
So did they teach it different or something? Or okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
I always felt like it was easier back in Mount Sterling where we used to live, and
Okay.
then whenever we moved to Versailles, it was like really hard. So it was harder for me to understand it. And I still have a really hard time with math, so
Hear,
I
hear.
still cry about that. I still cry about that
Yeah,
all
for
the
sure.
time. But yeah, and I still have like depressive symptoms and anxiety. I've been diagnosed with both of them. And over time, I've been trying to learn how to cope, but it's easier said than done. I've gotten help from my parents and my therapist and my psychiatrist who have been helping like a lot. But yeah, I've learned like coping mechanisms through them, which has also like really helped me. And I play lacrosse, which is a good outlet
Oh,
for
for
me
sure.
to just like
Yes.
chill out, and it like suppresses all my thoughts for a little bit. And I also read a lot, which helps me
Yeah.
too, because I get to like escape into a different world,
Sure.
which always helps me.
For sure. Sounds like you already, I mean, have made strides. I mean, and you're 16. So that's really good. I feel like that it took me a long time to figure out some of that stuff. So your mom is absolutely correct. You're super brave, man. That's awesome.
That was, I think, having a good relationship with Harper.
Yes.
And being open and honest with her about her father and I. We've struggled with anxiety and things like that. But being open about that and honest about that, I think kind of opened the door for her to say, hey, well, this is the way that I'm feeling.
I was just going to ask that. Like, yeah, like exactly. So your relationship with her opened up the door, because most people wouldn't just go to their parent, they feel, especially if you're feeling that way. I feel like my parents wouldn't understand, but the fact that you know about it, you all, about the situations is awesome.
I think and I think that has changed. I don't know that, if I was a parent when my parents were parents,
No.
I
Yeah.
don't know that I would have.
Back in my day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm already saying that. But,
I do too. Yeah.
that's where we are. And
Yeah, for sure.
our kids do, I think, they're fairly open with us.
Good, man.
And so we have that open,
That two-way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It actually, whenever, like, before you guys had figured out, I was, like, scared to tell you guys just because
Well, sure.
of, like, the stigma, just, like, around that stuff. I didn't know how you guys would feel, so I was, like, scared to tell you guys. And I told one of my friends who told his mom and then told you guys.
Yep.
So that's how I ended up getting help. And I was
Fantastic.
really nervous to just, like, talk about it. And then it's gotten easier just to know that, like, my parents like actually care about it. So
Of course. Yes.
And you know what really helps, or helped me, or help, continues to help me? Just this kind of stuff. Knowing that everybody feels this.
Right.
Like,
You are not alone.
I mean, even like in the most deepest, like I've thought some horrible things, but like I have buddies or I see things now on like social media. I'm like, we're not, okay. So, and they're successful and they're doing their own thing. So it's nice to see that, especially like even when I did therapy after my mom passed, and just talking. It's funny, that was like the one thing that I went for, but it ended up being more things. So you know what I mean. So I get in there, and obviously I'm like, I was talking about my feelings, But then it was really great just to talk and just to
Yes.
say my thoughts. I'm like, am I crazy? And she's like, no, people think this stuff. You're not alone.
No.
And that right there, just makes the world a difference.
And it's not a destination. That's the one thing that I always go back to.
Right.
Like, you may be struggling at a particular point or several points in your life, but it's not a destination. You're going to get through it. There's one thing
Like there's not like okay,
It's
I
over.
finally made it. It's over.
Right.
I'm no longer.
Yeah, you have to be
I feel
out of
great
it.
all the time. I have solved
Exactly.
the code.
Yes.
Yeah. No, you're
Yes.
right. Yes, it's just shifts. Like, and that's why you guys have hit it on the head, I think. I mean, you're starting with like youth, adult, and then senior. I mean, all of your experiences can change throughout as your life changes like that. I think that's a great idea.
Well, I have to share because we have, again, 5 kids, and all of them are different. They're all completely different. And one of our kids it actually struggles with ADHD. And so what we found with him is that because of his struggles with ADHD and focusing, that causes anxiety, which then, it's just this...
It's a vicious circle.
It is.
Yeah.
And so when you can manage ADHD, a lot of times you can kind of tackle
Right.
what we call like the side effects of ADHD.
Right.
But I will say one thing that I guess I was kind of worried about as a parent was medication. I knew
Right.
therapy would work.
Right.
And would help, definitely, because it's helped me. I too.
Exactly.
I actually started seeing a therapist when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I still see a therapist. So it's something I feel like really you should do all the time.
Yeah, I think it should be a great. I mean, even if it's for a month.
Yes.
I mean, it's you got to shed that. You mentioned Harper, that stigma.
Yes.
You got to just shed that away.
Yes.
Like, that's silly.
Yes.
Like, come on now.
And even if that's the one thing that we get across from this podcast or the
Right.
series at the library, like this is happening, this is going on. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
If you can't talk to your parents, find a counselor. Or if you maybe you're struggling, as a mom, talk to
Sure.
your, OBGYN. Like there are so many outlets, but the hardest thing to do is to open up that conversation. But once you do, you feel so much better.
100%.
So you talked about Harper reading, lacrosse,
Yeah.
all these things that have helped you. But one of the things that we have done is medication and medication management.
Right.
And what that looks like for us may be completely different with, it is with different kids, they're different humans.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
You have to treat them, certain ways. But it's not, again, if you get on medication to better your mental health or deal with anxiety or depression, again, it's not something that you have to do forever. It could
Right.
be just a point in time in your life when you're struggling. And there are ways that you can manage that and actually dose yourself. Well, I don't say dose yourself, but work with your healthcare provider, mental health provider, in transitioning off of that.
Right.
I'll never forget, I participated in a 2-day training. This has been probably 15 years ago, and it was called Mental Health First Aid. And the person that was doing the training actually said, people that have been suicidal don't commit suicide. If they don't commit suicide, they go on to live, like the chances of them going on to live a healthy,
Right.
productive life are actually very high. It's not somewhere you have to stay. It's something that you have to maybe deal with for a part in your
Moment
life.
in time. Yeah.
And one of the things that she did to kind of open the session before she talked about anything, she gave everyone in the training a sheet of paper, and it had a health condition listed on it.
Okay.
So let's say heart disease, cancer, schizophrenia, limb impairment or removal, depression, anxiety. And she said for us to rank them in the severity.
Yeah.
So, of course, we put some of the mental health things or elements, down what we thought were like the lower end of
Right.
that, like cancer diagnosis. We thought that was
Yeah.
actually, no, it was the
Losing a
opposite.
limb.
Right. And what was so surprising is actually these mental health struggles are really more impairing than what you would really think
Right.
at the time.
Yeah.
And so I really liked that was when the light bulb came on for me. Like these things can really affect you, and that's why you absolutely have to get them addressed.
For sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, they sneak up on you. For me, it was an ulcer. I was like, "What is happening? Like, what is this?" And they're like, "Oh, it's stress." I'm like, "What do you? I'm sorry. Time out. You're telling me stress can do that?" And they're like, "Yeah, stress can do a lot of things. I mean, it could put pain. It can transcribe into physical pain." And
Absolutely.
I did not know that was a thing. It was my family was always like, "Get up. You're fine. Dust it off."
Yes.
Like everybody has that problem. Okay, you're not the only one. Like that's what it was. So that's just how it was for me. And it's just yes, it's a fine line, but I think we should definitely normalize conversations like this.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not weird to talk. Now, obviously, different settings. You don't want to go to like my niece's birthday party and just sit and talk about how freaking depressed I am. like
Womp womp.
yeah. Oh, hey, now we're getting Now we're getting the young things out. But yeah, I mean, we got to normalize these kind of conversations because, I mean, we're talking like 2 years ago here. So
Yes.
that's crazy that's awesome that Harper's here and she's already surpassed. I mean, she has surpassed me at least. I mean, geez, by years.
Well, I don't think really anything has
Knowledge. I mean,
changed.
yeah.
Other than, like, I
Education,
think the
knowledge.
anxiety was there.
Yeah.
I can remember feeling like, I don't know. Okay. I always hated
was always
reading
there.
aloud.
Oh yeah.
And I would read like 7 pages in front of what
Yeah.
we were doing because I was practicing for if I got called on.
Terrified, yeah.
Oh yeah. It was the worst
Yeah.
thing ever.
I was from Eastern Kentucky. Like I have to still focus very hard not to have an accent. But so moving here, I was terrified because no one could understand me, and I couldn't say my R's. So it was even worse. So yeah, I feel you on the reading aloud anxiety.
I mean, it started early.
Yeah.
And I just didn't. My dad was like, if I was sick when I was
Yeah.
younger, he would be like, "You're going to be sick no matter where you are. Go on to school."
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Let me, that was like a public
just
health
pass
nightmare.
around. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I was going.
Yeah.
Suck it up. He'd be like, "Yeah, you're going to school."
Okay.
Yeah, I'm dropping you off.
That's great.
With the pack of abs. That's what we would
Yeah.
take me to the store, we get a pack of abs. Made everything better. Let me
Always.
tell you.
Tom's
But-
Pepto.
You talked about stress and
Yes.
affecting your physical health. It's absolutely true. And I'm going to share an experience that I had during COVID. At the height of COVID,
Mm-hmm.
I was hospitalized for several days because I had colitis,
Okay.
which is inflammation, swelling in your bowel or
Yeah.
colon.
Horrible.
And they went through every test in the world. There was no cause other than my stress level
Yeah.
was absolutely like
Through
skyrocketing.
the roof. And then you don't know, like, is this, do I need to go to the hospital? Is this something bad or is it
Right.
just gas? So 99.9% of the time, it's just gas. It's crazy what gas can make you think.
Or
Like you're having a heart attack. Like
like-
you're dying.
yes. How many times have we taken our kids to the doctor and they're having like horrible stomach pain?
Yeah.
And they feel their stomachs and they're like, well, they're constipated. I mean, even that
Yeah.
can like, it traps gas and it can,
It's wild what gas can do.
it is.
Like and Avery will be like, Dad, okay, I'm really sick. It's not, and don't say gas.
and don't say gas.
Because I say that because it probably is. you know?
Yes. Yes.
It's crazy.
But it can absolutely affect your physical health. Mine always goes to my stomach.
Yeah.
And I still struggle with that. I'll never forget whenever like all of my medical team, the gastroenterologist, the hospitalist, they all came in the room and discussed the diagnosis with
Yeah.
me. And, they're like, this has to be caused by stress because you don't have any other,
like we can't find anything else. Yeah.
no. So I have to say that since I got my gallbladder removed,
Ah, yes, we're the No Gallbladder Club.
yes, it's actually
It's
helped.
got its pros and cons.
It does. It does. And
Oh,
that,
boy.
yes, definitely. And that can, yes.
Yeah, yeah, we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
Oh, man.
It can definitely affect your plans. I'll just,
Faux show.
yes.
Faux show.
But I think just what we want to do, by talking about this, having this series highlight mental health, mental wellness,
Yes.
and stress the fact that
Yeah.
there is
pun
always an outlet. Like there's always, and you just have to figure out what that is for you.
Yeah, I'm interested in like hearing a little bit about like your daily little outlets. Like I know like lacrosse and reading but like, there are things like I sometimes like to drive when just quiet, nothing on, and just think and just kind of think through my things as I drive. Like that's my meditation. Like what's something like that you do throughout the day?
Well, okay, so we're not allowed to have our phones out at school, but sometimes I'll get like my AirPods out and we'll connect it to my computer, and I have like a little playlist on Spotify and I'll listen to it. And this is embarrassing. Like sometimes I'll pretend like I'm in like a music video.
Yeah.
Just like act like the main character for a little bit. Yeah.
Well, they say the main character energy. Is that what it is?
Yes.
I've never heard that,
Yeah.
but I'm using it.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Yeah.
Main
Like
character.
you just see someone like in the distance kind of walking like, he thinks
yeah.
he's the main character.
Yeah.
In this.
I love that.
They know they're a baddie. That's
A baddie?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Oh God, that is good stuff. And this is also, we should take this month also just to learn all the young catchphrases that just so that you can talk to your kids.
Exactly. Yes. There's so many things that we need to know what they mean, because
For sure.
the meaning may have changed.
Oh,
like
yeah.
from when we were younger.
Absolutely.
And we need to know like the cues. And I think, are there any like code words, or phrases around mental health that could maybe like alert a parent? Like, hey, my kid said this, and like,
For sure. Like, is there a like word like, I don't want to try to make one up like, because I'll sound ridiculous, but like they have these different words for different things. Is there a word that if they're like, say I'm a parent and I hear my kids say this, okay, wait, that I know what that means. Like that is I don't want to say a red flag, but maybe I need to pay more attention to what my kid is doing, or maybe question them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I hear like sometimes I know that it's like just jokes,
Right.
but I hear people say that they're gonna like kill themselves and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
I've noticed that.
They say it like,
oh, I'm
they
gonna
say
kill
it as a
myself.
joke.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, maybe we shouldn't be saying that, because I know
For
that
sure.
like if you say that at school, you get like sent to the counselor's
Yeah.
office.
They have to do a whole, I
Yeah.
think, report and stuff on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. It's not, I mean, but obviously, I feel like when I was younger, it was always like, oh, I just want to die,
Yeah.
But you can't say that anymore. Not that it's like we're restraining you from saying it, but it's like, hey, look, we have gotten better, I think, as a society with mental health and all that. I think as a whole.
yep.
So, in that sense, we pay attention when people say that, and we take it seriously. So it's not. So it's become more serious. It's not a joke anymore to say. But I have heard kids, including my daughter, obviously I know she, goodness gracious, and you just can. I don't want to say that as if like, oh well, I said the same thing about my kid and blah blah blah. But I just feel like I know my kid, and she has said, oh no, I'm just saying that. Like I can hear it in her voice.
Right.
So I questioned her about it though, and I said, do not say like that is just say, oh man, I'm having the worst day, or I wish I can just go lay in bed. Like don't you can't say those words. And she's at the age where she's trying to, we're navigating through that. So it's not weird per se, but yeah, I have noticed. That's interesting that you said that.
Well, for our listeners, Corey and I have kids that are the same age, same grade.
Yes.
And they are a hoot. I will just say that.
They are great, yeah.
But they repeat stuff. They hear stuff and they repeat it.
Exactly.
So if they say something like, oh my goodness, kill me now,
Yes. See, and just like that. I mean, yes, nonchalant, just kind of
Right?
wouldn't think twice. But
It's a figure of speech. It's
Right.
not literal.
yeah,
And I mean, I can say too. Does Avery play on like the Oculus, or does she have like?
yeah. She cycles through like some PlayStation, and then like she'll do that for a little. Mostly with me during the winter. That's when I go play some Fortnite. I'm cool, right?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
I'm hip.
That's a marker for cool.
Yeah,
Cool
it
parent,
is.
cool dad.
Yeah, come on, I'm a cool dad. You know, but
Yes.
between that Oculus and then she's got some other things, and obviously but that's not it. She does clay. She likes to draw,
Love
and so
that.
there's lots of different. But yes, she does the Oculus gorilla tag.
Oh my goodness! And they yell
Yes.
some of the craziest things.
Yes, they do. Like I've had to like Avery, knock it off. Like
Exactly.
Don't say that. She's like, well, he started it. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
can't be an online bully. Like that's craziness.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's exactly what they
Yeah.
like. Really, parents, if your kids are playing with things like that, not within earshot,
Yes.
you better kind of at least put eyes or ears on them.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you can, Harper has even said, "Did you hear what he just said?" I'm like, "No, but I need to obviously
Yeah.
listen." He was doing that at what 11:30 last night
Yeah.
Probably.
because he came home, took a nap,
Yeah. Oh,
got back
yes.
on there,
Yeah.
and it's like because they're in this alternate world to them, they can say whatever they want. No, that's still you.
Right.
And your words have consequences, and you don't want to you see you like online bullying and things like that, and I think that's definitely something I want to talk about. But with that, people can say things and it's almost like there's no they don't see the consequence because they don't see the person on the other side of the screen
Right.
necessarily and how they struggle with that.
It diminishes your conscience, I think, a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
because like I don't say those things to anybody because I would feel bad.
Right.
It would keep me up at night. I would
Yes.
not like that. So it's I didn't have any of that stuff until I was much older. Being online in chat rooms and stuff like that. So I learned it in a different way. I learned it through, well, I should say I learned it through being smacked in the mouth by my ma. But I learned it in a different way. But that's a very important lesson, is that conscience, like saying that. And I think that may contribute. I think you're onto something there.
Well, I mean, you brought up another thing for me. Corey and I both lost our precious mothers.
Yes.
But now we can, it's almost like a comfort knowing, because I think they had a lot of same personality traits.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear my mom saying when I was younger,
Yeah.
you better cut that out or I'm going to smash your mouth.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what, if
Yeah.
I was within reach,
Yeah.
she was going to do that. So we dealt with the whole
Oh,
other.
if I wasn't in reach, I'd have something thrown at me.
Oh, yes. They were going to get us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shoe,
Yes. Whatever.
lotion bottle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Harper, can you tell us a little bit about the differences in screens and how that you feel like that has affected your mental health? Because I'll be honest with you, we got Harper, or actually all of our kids got a phone once they started either middle school
Yeah.
or like sports, and we had to be without them for like periods of time.
That's a safety thing for me, honestly.
Yes.
And we got Avery a watch too. Just
Yes.
because extra safety.
Actually,
honestly.
and it's communication.
Right.
Like we want to be able to communicate. But at the same time, you probably got on different applications, and there were things that even though we were doing it for safety and communication, there were probably things that negatively affected you. I say that, I don't want to put those words in your mouth, but are there things that affected you negatively when you got your phone that maybe you didn't share with me and you would want other parents to know?
Yeah, so there were definitely, so I had Roblox, and there were definitely like predators on there.
Roblox.
Yes.
Yes. Huge with
Yeah,
Avery. Yeah.
I love Roblox now, but I know like I'm realizing this like now, like as we're talking about it, that there was definitely like predators on there and people that like wanted you for the wrong things, and they try and like talk to you and chat with you, and they'd say like pretty mean things. And I'm not gonna say that I didn't say anything back, because
Oh,
I would, if they're gonna say something to me, I'm gonna say something.
Yeah, and
back.
I do tell Avery to stick up for herself, obviously,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's a line. You know, you
Yeah.
can't like obviously threaten a life,
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. So
you gotta chirp them back a little bit.
yes, thankfully they have like the little like the blur chats, like you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
see like exactly like what they're saying, or they
Right.
can't see what you're saying, but it's like sometimes it's pretty clear what they're trying to tell
Exactly.
you.
Yeah,
So
they find a way.
yes, exactly. I know that like if somebody were to say something to me, it would make me feel like horrible about myself. Like if they'd say like KYS, which is like kill yourself.
Oh, KYS. See,
Obviously, I didn't know that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if they'd say that, like, or just like anything to like go die or anything
Right.
like that, like it just made me think like if only like you knew like what I thought.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel like horrible about myself, because then I didn't want to play anymore.
Right. It ruins
And,
this
yeah.
great, and I really like the game. I mean, it's got a lot
Yeah.
of cool obbies.
Yes,
and
those
stuff.
are my favorite.
And those are like really good. Like they remind me of Mario back in the day.
Yes, they're so
my.
fun.
Really?
It's very simple. You jump and you have to do different things, but it's so frustrating because you'll get to the top and then you'll miss a jump or something and you just fall
Yes,
all the way back down.
Have you ever
Yeah.
played the Tower of Hell?
I don't.
That one.
I'm sure I played like a variation of it. I
Yeah,
can't remember.
That one
but
makes me like
He's gonna be
crash
going
out
home tonight and being
all
like,
the
"I'm
time.
gonna get."
yeah,
That one makes me crash out all the time.
crash out. See that?
What does that
That's
mean?
another one.
Like get like really mad. Like
Oh,
you're
okay.
gonna like crash
Well,
out.
that's a good like
yeah, that's another one.
buzzword.
Yeah.
Like that maybe
to listen for. Yeah. I'm crashing out. Like, oh, what's wrong?
Yeah.
KYS. That's very interesting. I'm glad you said that. And then even then, like on Roblox, you have to watch out. Yeah, there are things called Tower of Hell, right?
Yeah.
And there are weird like different things. But as Avery's grown, she really only plays one game now on Roblox. Can you guess what that is? Probably.
I-
You know,
I don't know.
Dress to Impress. Dude,
That is great.
And she makes me get on there and like with her, and she's like, "Dad, what what does this look like? What is this?" And then she wants me to actually do it. I'm like, I don't know the controls. I'm gonna walk in there as a clay person.
Yes.
I love that so much.
I love that
But
game.
that's so yeah. It's always within your shot. I always have monitored,
Yes.
which I think is important. I wouldn't. It's hard for. It would be really hard for me to tell my daughter like, no, you cannot have any of these things that I would have
Right.
loved when I was your age. Like, and that's all we want is our kids to have a better life than we had, right? That's kind of what we try to do, right? So
Yes.
yeah, I can't. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of awesome. I'm supposed to get a PlayStation and my daughter can't play it. Like, that was a good gift for her, right?
But it's good bonding for
But
you all.
it is, and it's one of those things that I've taken from my life. There are obviously things that I would want to do different than ways I've been taught, things that I've
Definitely.
done.
Yes.
And one of those things I remember that was good back in my life that I really enjoyed was playing video games with my dad. And then obviously playing with mom, but mom wasn't any fun because we'd play like Mortal Kombat and she would press just all the buttons and somehow I'm like, and kick my butt. And I'm like, Mom, you can't just click buttons. You got to know the moves. And then she would find a move that would work constantly. And you're like, you can't do the same move over and over again.
You will not get near
And
me.
she's just beat red laughing. Oh, man. But yeah.
Good
so those are
memories,
good
though,
memories.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. I
And-
love that.
Especially now that Roblox has like voice chat.
Yeah.
Like you
So
can
this is a new component.
like, I mean, it's been there for like a while, but like I didn't know that like
Right.
I could do it. I thought that had to be like on a computer, but you can do it on your phone and you can like talk to anybody on there.
I got Avery on, and that was one that I was iffy on doing, just because she had been hurt before, where someone said something to her and it freaked her out. Like she was like freaking out, crying. Like they said something like, "I'm gonna hack you" or "come to your house" or something, and it startled her. So she quit there for a while. So I was a little weird. That wasn't on the voice. That was just on the chat. But yeah, I don't think she does that very, very much. But to her, I think she said to her friends she does. So her friends, they can create a like a chat room, I guess.
Yes.
Kind of how you put it. So yeah,
I love that though. I think that's a really cool feature that you
Yeah.
can play with Like,
Wow, it's amazing.
yeah. How cool is
Yeah, yeah, how cool
Yes.
is that?
How cool is that?
Yeah.
That's so neat.
I remember struggling trying to figure out how to get online with,
Oh,
like
yeah.
SOCOM Navy SEALs was the game, and I loved it, and I was like, man, I want to get on and do the chat room thing, but it wasn't really until like Halo and stuff and Xbox, I think that. Anyways,
Well, the coolest thing is probably the scariest thing, like with messaging, because the messaging component, although, again, really cool,
Yeah.
and you can communicate with people even that you know, there's still a chance that it could be someone pretending to be someone else,
Oh my gosh,
or saying
yeah.
things that are just hurtful and wrong. And I think just being aware of that, and I need to practice what I preach on that, because I am not as good as I need to be as far as like checking screens and checking messages and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the risk is some of these things delete. And
Yeah.
so there's no
That there are
repercussion.
There are ways to find some of those things. I mean,
Did you-
I haven't found anything or anything, but
You know how to.
I know how to recover deleted stuff. I mean, definitely. So I don't, I don't want to be like the old parents, like, I got eyes in the back of my head. But
you
seriously,
do.
there are a few things that I can. So yeah, there are ways to do that. But I agree. We're not there 100% of the time. Like, that's true. Like, there's no way for me to 100% monitor everything. And I've been like downstairs and heard
Oh, yeah.
cuss words on
Oh, yeah.
like a video, and
Yeah.
I'm like, Avery. She goes, sorry. Like she's pretty good at changing it, but
I mean, here's the thing. They're not bad kids. They're just doing what everyone else is doing.
yeah,
Like,
what I would. Yeah,
what? Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Guilty.
For
But
sure.
and I think I actually just wrote down another topic for us to find someone that is knowledgeable in internet safety,
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
because I think that's a huge thing now, but it does affect our mental health when people that really don't even know us can say things and wreck our day, wreck our life, whatever
Yeah.
kids say. But that has a huge impact on how we see ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, when you are an adolescent in that period, I mean, your frontal lobe does not fully develop until you're around 26 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't have the full functioning of your brain that will say, hey, don't do this. There's like no connection between cause and effect.
Right.
And so, again, they're not bad kids. They're doing things without
still
knowing the repercussions.
Yeah, they're still growing.
Yeah. And so we have to give them grace. We have
Right.
to give them grace, and we have to
Let them learn.
walk them through it.
Exactly.
Be there. I mean, I cannot fix
Right.
Harper's, I can provide supports for her and,
Guidance and
Yeah.
advice, and I mean, but that takes a good relationship between you two to know that she can come to you with anything.
Yes.
So vice versa. So I think that's yes, you're right. You can't be there 100% of the time, but you can create that environment.
yes.
Yeah, that helpful environment. So yeah, that's interesting. That's the one thing. Yeah, that's the one thing. And I think I have that with Avery as well. She's because we've got this thing, and we're almost, I can't believe it. We're almost at 40 minutes. But real quick, Avery could come to me, now come to me about anything. But I remember teaching her when she would do something. Now, most of the time I would know she did it, and I know she's not wanting to talk about it. So I'm giving her almost like a test, So I'm like, look, you can talk to me about anything. And I'm like, if you come to me first, no matter what it is, if you come to me first, then we'll talk about it, and you'll be maybe in less trouble or no trouble at all. But if I hear it from a freaking teacher or somebody else or another parent before you come and tell me, then we're going to have issues. So she tested that a couple times, but we're in a good spot now. Like, she will absolutely do that. And that's I think that's what you gotta do. It's the only thing you can do. And hopefully that brings you some some peace, as a parent.
Absolutely.
But then again, my kid is 9. And not to put anything else on you, so maybe we should talk about some more stress situations, because I'm sure you're driving.
Yeah.
And you're out doing your own thing, so that's an extra.
Oh, Mom.
I can remember how crazy my mom. She was constantly. But I tell you what, though, she's always right. She was always freaking right. Nothing good happens past midnight. All that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Can't you?
Yeah.
Sorry, and this
Yeah.
is just a side. Can't
Yeah.
you hear her saying
oh,
that?
for sure. And then I say things, and I'm like, well, okay.
That's my
Hi, Mom.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
you're. What do you want?
100%.
Nice to see you. That's awesome, though. That's
Yes. Yes, it's a great feeling to know, because it's like they're still with you,
good. Yeah, for sure.
guiding you along, because we need help parenting. And just like I say, we need to be supportive of our kids. We need other parental support, like from people our age that are going through the
yes,
same thing. So you don't
for
feel
sure.
stranded.
Right.
Like you're not the only one going
Right.
through whatever it is you're going through.
So it doesn't matter if you're young, you're old, you still need your network, you still need your people.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that's another great takeaway to have from this show. I will say thank you, Miss Harper.
Thank you for having me.
This has been eye-opening. Honestly, probably one of my most favorite episodes from any show that I've ever done. It's really been awesome.
Well, I want to thank you for working with us, Corey, because for those of you that don't know, Corey goes along on these journeys with us as you're the chairman of the chamber board.
Oh, yeah.
And, you record these podcasts. And
Yeah.
You have to be knowledgeable about the things to ask questions. And you always hit the nail on the head. We always go in like the exact direction we need to, even if we don't plan it.
Yeah, that's the best when you don't plan.
Yes.
I feel like.
That's what I wanted to, like, at the very beginning of this conversation, we talked to Harper about, hey, this is going to be very organic. We're not planning this out. I'm not going to like say anything or coerce you and say
Right.
anything. But as we close out, I want to stress that there are support systems, whether it be, if we're talking about kids within the schools, you can talk to your pediatrician. That was another thing that was really important to us. We were able to talk to our pediatrician, and she actually has a passion for mental health. And so she reached out to a psychiatrist, pediatric psychiatrist. And so knowing that, if your kid goes here to public school, there are supports already built in. They have counselors, and they have also, you can sign up there on the resource page, parent resource page. You can sign up for your child to see a mental health specialist actually at school. So that's really beneficial. But then, and I'm by in no way, shape, or form saying you can't go anywhere for like a mental health crisis. But if you're in the middle of a true crisis, let's say you've just learned that your child is really, really feeling low, and
you got to pull the chute, man. Like
right
you need
then.
somebody, right? You need to talk. Yeah.
There's actually like at UK, there is a special department for mental health emergencies. So you don't have to wait to see a psychiatrist for a diagnosis. It doesn't look like a regular emergency room. I've never been. I've seen pictures. And then also there is, UK has their own pediatric emergency room too. So regardless, there are resources. Again, the public school has a resource page, like a parental resource page, and that's been really helpful.
Yeah.
But there are certainly lots of different supports for all ages, and we're gonna, if you want to learn more about that, join us for the series at the
This'll be a good month for it.
library. Yes, and these podcasts are going to be, a little bit different than what we're going to be talking about at the library. So
Okay. Yeah. These probably more detailed.
yes,
Things and
so don't assume that because you went to the library
Right.
that you don't need to listen to the podcast because there could be some other
Oh,
information,
absolutely.
and definitely you don't want to miss out.
100%. 100%. Thank you, Miss Cassie. Thank you, Miss
Cor-
Harper. You
Thank
guys
you,
are
Harper.
awesome.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I always learn something.
Always, always. Until next time, stay well in Woodford. Is that
Yes,
pretty good?
absolutely.
That
yes,
was good. That was good.
Awesome. See y'all.